In this episode, I had an awesome time chatting with Upland community member El Slack, who is also an Upland content creator via his YouTube channel, The Vulgar Uplander. Although our Upland experiences and journeys to date are quite different, El Slack and I do share an interesting variety of traits and interests, one of which should be pretty obvious straight off the bat, is enjoying speaking our minds freely and having a natural inclination to incorporate lots of four-letter words into our dialogue. Between that description, the thumbnail, and the standard disclaimer at the start of the show, you should now understand the following conversation is probably not safe for work, depending on where you work. El Slack and I dived into a wide variety of Upland-related topics today, including, of course, his journey into Upland, what he's most passionate about in the game, his related frustrations and hopes and plans for his future in the space, and some contemporary Upland events and features. We also discussed his content creation process and focus. Speaking of which, make sure you click the link in the description for his YouTube channel, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And anyhow, with all that being said, it's great to kick this particular podcast series off again on my new laptop with such a fun chat. Hopefully, I managed to get all the previous audio issues fixed up for this one. So sit the hell down and shut the fuck up as El Slack and I explore getting vulgar in the metaverse and fucking beyond. Enjoy.
Warning, the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved contains content not suitable for anyone.
We might as well just get this sorted out straight away. We've got El fucking Slack. Let's just put it out there like that. How are we doing this afternoon for you?
I love it. I was going to ask, like, how much do you care that I swear, but it sounds like we're good to fucking go.
Yeah, I used to be totally unfiltered back in the earlier days when I was doing some of the other shows. I tended to dial it back just because I know every now and then my eldest son or some of my kids will press play on some of the YouTube videos. So, but yeah, it's all good.
Awesome.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm so censored at work. I just can't do it when I'm at home. So I'm like, this is just going to be me.
Well, I'm a kindergarten teacher, mate. So yeah, I've got that times 10, and I'm Australian, so I've got the worst of both worlds there. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I work with kids too. We've talked a little bit about that. I work with kids in a prison. So, well, I mean, they're not all kids, but like from 12 to 25.
Yep.
So, kids and adults.
Yes. So, why is this relevant? Well, you have your very own YouTube channel called the Vulgar Uplander.
That's right.
Yep.
I kicked that thing off. God, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. I think I've been watching your videos and listening to your podcast, and I started listening to. Actually, I really just started listening to a bunch of different podcasts. Once I realized I was really slow to the game here, getting in on the Upland community. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me that there would be, people making content about this game.
Yep.
But for the longest time, I just wasn't aware, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I think I started following Loyal Doyle at first, and then I was like, oh, there's got to be more than that. He's not posting that often. So I just came across the UPX podcast, and then I came across your podcast with More Cheese, and then I started listening to James UK and the Metaverse Melon.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? Let's do something. So I don't know. I just got a wild hair at my ass, and I was like, let's just do it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I was saying before we got kicked off that I was just catching up on some of your recent videos while I was trying to get organized. First of all, I love your logo. How'd you come up with that?
I was on. So one of my former bosses turned me on to Canva, and I was just fucking around with Canva one day, and I saw this logo, and I was like, that's kind of funny, and it makes absolutely no sense, and that's kind of me. So I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. And that's kind of how the whole thing kind of came to be. It doesn't really make any sense. It's not relevant at all. I just thought it was really funny. And so that's what I put in there.
No, it definitely works. Absolutely. So yeah, there'll be a link to Elslack's page, his YouTube channel in the description. Make sure you head over, like and subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. I like the variety of the videos you put out. You put some proper sit down. Okay, let's have a go through this and discuss these sort of things together. And then like you just do kind of, I guess this one was really good. It's just kind of loose content almost, where you're just talking through your process of what you do, like you're buying and selling and whatnot. And then some of these, to be honest, I kind of cringe at these driving ones.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You probably don't know, here in Australia, our draconian, well, I guess it's not draconian because it's trying to protect you from yourself almost. If you get caught by a camera having your hand anywhere near your phone, like it could be on you, if your phone's on your lap and you got your hand resting near your phone, you'll get dinged. Obviously, if you're holding your phone, you get dinged. I think the fine's over $1,000, something like that, and 4 demerit points. It's no fucking joke. So,
damn.
Yeah.
It's not a joke here either, and I'm playing with fire every time. I have my mount, and yeah, I do fuck around with it. It's right next to my like dash stuff, where I don't know, in my mind I feel like I can get away with this because if anybody was to question, I'm not holding it in my hand. I just have to be hands free. I'm doing no more than if I was changing the radio station on my car. So I'm like, well, I'll just record. I got like an hour and 45-minute drive every day. Well, each way.
That's brutal.
Each way. Yeah. Oh. It's 80 miles. I don't know the kilometer conversion, but yeah, it's about an hour and 45 minutes each way. And I get really bored. It's the same monotonous drive every fucking day. And I'm just like, oh my God, it at least kills 20 minutes of this drive where it just flies right by. And I have heard some negative comments about me driving and engaging with my phone. And so I'm trying to not do as much on my phone, but just more talking at it. And then, I'll click the thing. Sometimes it goes dead or it goes to black screen, but
yeah. I think like that last one you just did, where you were kind of backing up the previous video, so you're talking about the successes you had with some of the sales. Yeah, that's like you press record and you just free flowing with your thoughts almost. I remember reading some comments. There must have been a video where you were treasure hunting or something.
I was, yeah.
That's next level.
That was
don't do that.
That was not my finest moment. But man, yeah, I am. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, what if I get pulled over? Because we have cameras too. They could get me on camera, but where I'm driving, I'm just on like highways where there's nobody out there. I'm driving through like the forest, where there's a bunch of dead zones. Anyway, I'm not driving through the city necessarily when I'm recording. So, but I am thinking like, man, what if I get pulled over? How interesting would this be? I just let it keep recording and just see what happens. I don't know. Maybe it's not worth the risk, but I'm just whatever. Fuck it. I'm just gonna see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Imagine telling the cop, just hang on a second, like I'm right near this treasure.
Yeah, just chill out, man. Yeah, just take my ID and my registration and go run some, I don't know, run the background check on me. Take 20 minutes. I'll be ready then.
Yeah, but that's a brutal commute. I know. This is years and years ago, before I changed careers and whatnot, I used to have about a 50-minute commute each way, and that was bad enough. But this is way back before we had podcasts or anything like that. Even nobody was streaming YouTube stuff while they're driving or anything like that. So I was like playing Pimsleur CDs to learn Japanese for 40 minutes in the car. So yeah, different these days. But yeah, I got so sick of driving that I made sure that when we found our house and settled in, I got a job that's like 5 minutes from my house. So
Yeah. So when I bought the house I live in now, the house I lived in right before this one, I bought the house and I was 5 minutes away from my work at the time. And then they closed down the facility I was working at. And then they moved us all to another facility like 45 minutes away from where I was at. So I went from like a 5 minute commute. And that's, part of it was like, that's why I bought that house. Because I was so close and I didn't know the facility was going to get shut down.
Yep.
And then they moved us all. I'm like, well, crap, now I got a 45-minute commute. What's another hour on there?
Jesus.
So, and for honestly, for like my mental health, where I was working at before, it was needed. So where I'm at now, it's within the same agency and everything. It's just a different facility. And coincidentally enough, I grew up in the city I'm working at now. I don't live there, but so I get to drive home every day and go visit some family sometimes, and it's
nice.
kind of nice. But I mean, the drive does suck, and yeah, I fucking hate that drive.
How else do you break it up? Like you put a bit of content out there. What else do you do?
I listen to. I mean, I have like my string of podcasts I listen to, mostly Upland podcasts. I did start listening to the Joe Rogan Experience recently.
Yep.
I think I've listened to like 3 episodes of that, and I got so much time. I was running out of content for my drive. So, but yeah, mostly just podcasts, and sometimes I'll record a video. And other than that, if I'm really having like a struggle staying awake, I'll put on some like 90s hip hop or something. But that's it really.
Well, you've kind of mentioned a bit there, and I've got a point down here. I saw in one of your videos that you said the first property that you bought in Upland was in Dallas, Texas, was it?
No, that was the first building I built.
Building,
Was in yeah. I think the first property I bought was in like Brooklyn or the Bronx.
Okay.
But yeah, the first building that I built
That's
was in Dallas.
And you happen to have a Dallas hoodie on at the time. Is that where you're from? Is that where you're based?
No,
really?
I'm just a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, there you go.
So when Dallas opened up, I bought some property in Dallas. I was like, oh man, the Cowboys, this will be cool. And then I'm like, oh wait, they don't even play in Dallas. They play in Austin, but still the Dallas Cowboys. And yeah, no, I'm just I don't know how well, okay, that's a lie. I do know how I became a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's just embarrassing to say.
All right, we won't push you on that one. So we'll take a look at your account stats. That's always good to kind of ground us of where we're going to go with a few different things. So yes, we got El Slack, home residence in Granada Hills, LA. We'll get into that aspect a bit later. Current net worth, a bit over 1.5 million UPEX, 171 properties, which is pretty good for that kind of balance. A lot of those, I would imagine, are your flippages you got going on.
Yeah, I don't know. At one point, I didn't know what I was doing, but I've been working on building up a lot of Detroit properties. Yeah. And then I bought a bunch of just random properties at one point just to get collections, not really realizing what I was doing at the time. Yep. Looking at dividends, I was just like, oh, I just want the little bonus there. That would be beneficial in the moment. But
so you got, as you said, plenty of properties in Detroit. Other big bag is in LA.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's Granada. That's your area there, I would suspect.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. We'll have a look at your progress charts. I always, especially when I consider how my progress chart's going, I always like looking at this. I like get out of that. So we've got your properties net worth, net worth. It's interesting here that your graphs have kind of crossed over a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you've been playing around with the buying for USD, selling for UPX, that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah, there was a period of time, I didn't really know what I was doing, and then I think probably yeah, 20, you can see it starts to uptick a little bit here.
Yeah.
As probably about the time I started watching YouTube videos on
Nice.
Upland, and then I started getting some ideas, and the wheel started turning.
Yep.
But yeah, I started flirting with buying for USD and selling for UPIX, and really trying to buy below mint
Yep.
as much as possible. And I've kind of wavered on that a little bit. I've been doing more minting lately, and then buying Detroit properties. Not too concerned about the
Price or
oh
whatever.
my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just buying the cheapest ones, regardless of their oh my gosh, drawing a blank,
The floor price and whatnot.
yeah, I'm not even concerned about that. I just am looking for where it is, because I've been doing my treasure map stuff over there. I know Detroit's not the best place to do that, but it is
Yeah,
the
that makes sense.
cheapest.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, I noticed you're coming up on your 1-year birthday tomorrow, my time, 2 days your time. So you kicked off February 18th. Were you playing for a while, and that's when you went to Uplander, or did you go to Uplander pretty quick?
I'm trying
that
to remember.
That date's usually, that's the capture date of when your account became official.
Yeah, so I think I downloaded the game, and I had no clue what I was looking at. I was like, this sounds cool and it looks cool, but
Yeah.
I don't have any idea, because they don't onboard you for shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's better now, but then I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, I see properties, and there was like some sort of tied to Monopoly, and I was like, well, that sounds cool. And I'm like, well, I really like NFTs and crypto stuff, and I was looking at this game, and I'm like, well, I like collecting things, and I like Monopoly, and I want to have a game on my cell phone that I don't feel like I'm just pissing money away on, that I'm gonna lose interest in 3 to 6 months. So I jumped on there, but I had no fucking idea what I was doing, no clue.
Yeah.
And I just messed around with it, kind of really off and on, really loosely, for a long while, before I had a lot of free time on my hands at work, and I was like, I'm gonna start watching some YouTube. There's got to be something on here about Upland, and then I discovered that there was so much more to this game than I ever knew. I didn't really know how collections worked so much. I didn't understand like any of the yield, and I didn't know how block explorers and then the like racing was starting to be kind of a thing. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do I get these things? Do I just get a car? Do I have to, where do I go buy them? What's the difference between like an Upland generated thing and a community generated thing? I had no idea, and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what meta ventures were very easily, and there were so many little things that just didn't make a ton of sense, and there was really nothing that said, hey, here's how you do this, until I started watching YouTube, and they're like, oh, this is how you do this. Here's UPX land, and this is how you find properties on the cheap. Because before I was just, let me go somewhere, and and then also trying to figure out how to navigate a city, or to go to another city. That was, I think that actually might have been what drew me to look on YouTube, because I'm like, how the fuck do I get from this city to the next? I'm like, what airport sends me where, and what train gets me to an airport? I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
And so I think that's when I really started looking, and I was like, oh wait, there's so much more to this game, and there's a lot of really knowledgeable people. Let me check that out.
Yeah, it's I think it might be YK 2012. He puts out a lot of short form content, which is a lot of snippets. So he's a really good source of information for that sort of stuff. A few things to touch on there. You mentioned that you found Upland as you were cruising around trying to find something. You mentioned crypto and NFTs. So you come from that background. Is that well, I guess the question is, how did you get involved?
Yeah. So, oh gosh, back in, I'm going to say 2015, 2016, At my job, I was supervising we had a bike shop for our incarcerated youth. And so we allowed them to sit in this bike shop. One of the volunteers that came in was really into cryptocurrency, and he started talking to me about Bitcoin. And so we got into a long conversation, and it really piqued my interest. So I started buying Bitcoin at the time. And Bitcoin was, like, I think 2015, 2016 was still really, really kind of newish. And I think it was teetering at like $200 or something like that. And so at the time we were looking at like, oh yeah, Bitcoin is going to be this thing, and it's really cool. So I started mining some Bitcoin and all of that. So I got into Bitcoin, and then I started looking at other cryptocurrencies. And then about the time when NFTs started, I think I was a little bit late to the game on the NFT side. I think I jumped in when it was kind of dying off. But that's kind of when I started seeing a lot of ads for Upland. So I think because I was looking at so many NFTs, and Upland was kind of like an NFT game.
Yep.
I got those things, and I was like, well, let's look into this. I still believe in NFTs for the most part. I think there'll be a resurgence at some point where they really take off in the mainstream. So and it kind of just led me right down the path of going into Upland, and basically everything in Upland is the NFT. So it just kind of fit right in line with the things I thought were valuable into the future.
Yeah, and you're kind of talking before about you see the ad, you think, okay, monopoly on the blockchain, NFTs, this all looks great. You download the app or whatever, you dive in, and then you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now?
Right.
It was confusing enough when I first started it, and that was so much simpler then. And you're talking starting a bit over a year ago, like how much more has come on board since then. So yeah, it is good to see that onboarding process has been improved somewhat, it seems like.
Yeah.
But it's still, unless you find the Discord or the YouTube channels very early on.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't find Discord
really difficult
until after I started watching YouTube.
Mm.
I mean, I had Discord, but I didn't know there was like an Upland Discord.
Yep.
So
yeah, it can be quite confusing. I know even recently I had to go to Staten Island to apply for a new showroom. And even I got confused. Okay, well, I'm in San Francisco. You know how there's that weird thing where you got to land at JFK, but then you got to get the bus to.
yeah.
I was like, how the frick does this work?
Yeah, there's fuck. I wish they would have some kind of, I don't know, like roadmap or just a fucking diagram that says this airport takes you here, this bus takes you here, this train takes you here, so you can, like, how do I connect from one transportation thing to the next to get to where the hell I want to go? Like when I go to Detroit, I have to go to Detroit to Chicago. From Chicago, I can fly to LA. If I want to go to Dallas or Austin, like when I put in for my MetaVenture in Austin, I have an NFLPA MetaVenture down there. I had to go I was in Detroit. I went to Detroit to Chicago to Dallas, and then took a bus from Dallas to Austin. And it was such a pain in my ass just to put in a fucking application. And not only that, then they rejected the stupid thing because they said I had
copyright
licensed
yeah.
shit in there that I was like, I fucking made this myself. There's no way. This is, well, okay, fine. So I erased some crap that I thought might be the license thing that they were referring to, and then resubmitted. But I had to do that whole trek all over again. And it's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it should be like basic quality of life stuff. It should be like your in-car GPS, where you put in, I'm here, I want to go here. It pulls up different routes. It tells you how long it's going to take, total journey, the total cost, and then you click this one. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Just like an automated path to get you from point A to point B.
Yep. You're somewhat of a newish account in that your net worth is about 1.5 mil. How much does the transportation costs, make you second guess, taking those transportation trips? I know, like, for myself, with how heavily established my account is, I don't even think about it. I just go wherever the hell I want because I can
Right.
pick it up in the dividends. But as a new account, is that something that factors into your decision?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Especially since I don't keep a lot of UPIX, like at my disposal. I spend most of it. So yeah, like if I want to go somewhere, I have to plan ahead. If I know that I need to go take my returns and mint something in LA, but I'm in Detroit, I'm like, well, I need to go flip a property so that way I can go spend the 1,000 UPIX to get over to LA.
Yep.
So yeah, I have to think about that all the time. It is what it is. I mean, it's I think this is a first world problem for me, but
yeah,
yeah, I have to think about it all the time. It's getting a little bit better, but yeah, I mean, I'm still relatively, I'm a small account, so I go up as fast as I get money from my free apps that I fuck around with.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Especially you've got to plan ahead aspect of it, because obviously you have a well-polished system in place, which you talk about extensively in your own videos, where you can take advantage of the under mint markups, buying for USD, flipping for UPX. Yeah, oh, shit. I think I just commented on one of your videos before. I wish that opportunity was around when I started off, even though in Australian dollars we get, smashed with extra fees and whatnot. But even with all that factored in, it's still a massive advantage.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Lucky I wrote that down because I lost my train of thought. But how we have seen Upland now kind of moving to this point where the notice period that we're getting for some of these city releases or some of these events is you have to be in this city, tomorrow. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. And I can imagine newer players saying, well, fucking wait a minute. I got to get shit organized here.
Actually, yeah, I do. That actually doesn't bother me all that much because I am a smaller player, I am already at a disadvantage for what I need to get. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Because I mean, I don't know how often, you check Upland. Maybe it's pretty often. You're pretty engaged, but I know that there's other whales out there that probably don't check it every single day. They're just kind of sit and forget, make sure that maybe they collect their bonus, or maybe they don't care about the spark, but I am on it every single day, multiple times a day. Just, checking the next opportunity because I'm in the growth period. I'm not sustaining, I'm growing. So I got to be on top of it. So when I get, like when they did that 24-hour one, I was like, well, shit, that's fine. I don't mind. I'll go throw, some money down if I have to get to wherever I need to go. So that way I'm jumping on board, and in hopes that maybe there's not as many people they're just minting up all the properties before I get my turn. So and it doesn't bother me too much. I know where I'm at, and it would be nice if I had a more liquid account, but it's fine. I know what I'm doing for the most part, and I have a general idea. I have, like I said, my apps or whatever. If I need to go withdraw some money, I got a couple different ones that I could do. I could withdraw early, and if I need to pull something from my account because I see a really good opportunity for growth, and that's what I'll do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess partly that would shield you from the whole FOMO aspect. I know, like,
it does.
Yeah, because I started off in the very early days. I've been playing the game as every new feature comes on board. So the kind of feeling is, well, I have to get involved in this. I know that's one of, and I've kind of maintaining a liquid UPEX balance it's very hard to do when you're getting it established, and it's kind of counterintuitive. You should be trying to reinvest your UPEX and that sort of thing. So I know as the years have gone on, I kind of got to the point where I don't want to FOMO into this because I got to get up at 3 fucking a.m. to get involved in all these city releases and stuff. So I've dialed that way back. Yeah, interesting to know people that are kind of growing up in a sense in the current environment where there's so much going on, there's so much that you can do. Can you speak to that at all? Like how you avoid the FOMO, or what parts of it have sucked you in and you've gone, ah, shit.
I've talked a little bit about this on some of my videos. I'm such a fucking mark for like mystery shit.
Yeah.
If they're gonna like this stupid Frost
Yes.
thing pass.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I have no idea what's gonna be in it. There's X1 is saying it's gonna be really cool. Maybe I believe X1, I don't know, but it's a mystery, and I'll be damned if I'm not gonna find out what the hell's in that mystery.
Yeah.
So and the price was right. It's like $6.99. That doesn't bother me. That's we have Dutch Brothers here. It's like a coffee shop. I don't know, do you guys, it's like Starbucks, but anyway, it's local to this region. So it's like a Dutch Bros for me. I'm gonna go, instead of getting that, I'll just go get the stupid Frost Pass, and I'll get a drop every Tuesday that I hate so far.
Yes.
But yeah, the FOMO, there are definitely things out there that I'm like, oh, I would really love to get that, but no, it's I'm priced out of it. So, and I don't have the UPX in my account. Sometimes I get lucky and it's there, but then I'm thinking, do I spend like the totems, for instance? Do I spend the money that I could turn into make money for me? Do I spend that on the totem because I think maybe there's a benefit down the road? And so like I do a little cost benefit analysis, and if it makes sense, like I thought the totems made enough sense. I got two of them. I think one I paid UPX with, the other one I paid USD with. But yeah, no, I don't get the luxury of being able to FOMO into too many things, unless it's cheaper. But typically the things that are cheaper go really, really fast.
Yeah.
And when those things come out at 9 o'clock, I'm actually at work. So where I work, I can't have my phone.
Yeah, same.
So a lot of times I miss them, and that's kind of fortunate. And unless I'm really intentional, like the totems, I was like, oh, I need to go take a break. And then I went and bought a totem.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. We'll go back to the kind of what you said there about your latest video talking about the Frost passes. I love what did you say? Something about this gets my biscuits burning. I've never heard of that one before. That made me laugh.
What did I say? Sometimes I don't know, man. Sometimes I say things I'm not even aware.
It's just interesting. Yeah, different parts of the world, different sayings and that whatnot.
Right.
That got me giggling. Yeah, I share a lot of your frustrations, especially with that season pass to this point. Obviously, there's still a few weeks to go. We don't know how it's going. Initially, I was just like, I've got no interest in this. And then I got together in one of those podcasts where Swally was talking through a few different points, and some other people chimed in. And I was like, you know what? I think you might be right here. So I ended up getting two of them. I burnt one, kept the other one. And then so far, we've had two drops of overlays.
What's the point of, because I've heard other people do, like, in your thought process, what is the point of just keeping one?
Yep. So it's you mentioned that you're a collector of NFTs or whatever. Well, if you're going to collect the full series of season passes from day dot, you can imagine, get a year or two down the track, and some collectors come along and they start at Frost 2025, and they're looking around, man, I wish I could fill out my collection. So that was the kind of general thinking.
Okay, I guess I didn't think about that for whatever reason. I guess I thought like the Tokyo pass that I got, maybe they just let you keep it. You get but I guess if you burn it, it goes away.
Yep. Yeah. So that's, a lot of people will buy two of them, one to burn and one to hold for the longer term play, or it's just something cool to keep, because say what you will about the drop so far. The actual passes themselves, they look pretty cool from the most part.
Oh yeah, they do.
I've seen. And we know that with the seasonal passes, nothing that we get from those is transferable. You can't buy, sell, trade. However, the pass itself, even though it might be defunct and out of date, that can still be sold. So I think there may be some kind of future value in that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. I guess I just thought like, oh, maybe that's just going to sit there. I haven't looked at it, but just even saying it out loud. I'm like, no, you burn the damn thing and it goes away.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So yeah, we've had 2 drops so far, both of them overlays. Your reaction was pretty much bang on with mine, except mine was probably even a bit more harsher. It's just like, I've got no interest in this whatsoever, because I turn off other people's block explorers when I'm doing anything in Upland. I'm not gonna check out my own account and go, woo, look at my little thing. So yeah, to date, nothing has come through that's going to convince me to. Well, I didn't pay USD for mine. I bought mine as a secondary deal in UPX. I paid 22,000 each. So I dropped 44,000 UPX to buy 2 of them.
Right.
I reached out to the person and said, hey, next season, don't pre-buy any for me. Just wait and see how we go at this point. So yeah, overlays, not really excited about that. So, some of the other things was interesting that you talked about, like why can't we have different colors in your profile, or why can't we have? I thought the really one that I heard you talking about was the trails, like your block explorer trail. There's plenty of mobile games that I play. There's a golf game, like a kind of weird golf game that I play, where there's ball trails. And I know back in the day, people used to lose their shit to have, you'd have sausages coming out your ball and all sorts of stuff. Something like that would fit in so seamlessly with the different themes that they have going on.
You would think, I play a lot of video games, and for a long time I played Rocket League. Are you familiar with that game?
Yep.
And they have, all kinds of trails on, the car when you do the boost, or, explosions when you, that is even another thing. Like when you buy a property, I know a lot of people or turn off the animations and stuff, but what if you got to have this cool animation that was different? There's just so many avenues that are cool, that don't have to be transferable, that I think really customize the game for people that especially gamers who value shit like that. Especially if you're making content and like you're recording your stuff, even though you may not look at it all the time, other people will look at your videos like, oh shit, look at that thing that LSlack has, or oh, how'd you get that animation, how'd you get that cool trailer? Whatever the case may be, maybe for the first time you want to turn that shit on because you're proud of it. You're like, oh, look at this thing I got that nobody else has, because you like even this director star thing, maybe like in Call of Duty, like you level up or you prestige or whatever, and you get the same, you're whatever level you're at, but like just a different logo. I don't know. I think that would be cool. Just different things to.
I'm in full agreement there. Absolutely. So if you're listening on the Spotify, we're just looking at LSlack's profile in game. So we're looking at your profile card. Now you could very easily see, and a lot of games do this, where the generic white background profile card. Well, imagine it all sparkly gold, or it's Frosties and make it frosty or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different avenues that they can pursue there, for sure. Yeah,
and if all they do are overlays for your block explorer, that's going to be so lame, and it's going to be such a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I think
so. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that's not all they have cooking up, but good God, if it is, like, you're definitely not going to get your $7 from me next time.
Yes. Yeah, I'm full agreement on that one. Yeah. Profile, what else did you say? Oh, the other one, the thing that you mentioned was make it, although nothing in the seasonal pass has technical financial value. Well, hell, why not attach some kind of UPX bonus to it, or some other token drop where you get X amount of tokens that you can use? You could. When you said that, I was like, yo, dude, like imagine having a token where you get free travel for 24 hours or something like that. UPX bonus. Maybe it boosts your home residence dividends for the period, which wouldn't be too much unless people had their home residence on a crazy ultra rare, or maybe it's a time period or something like that.
Anything. I mean, there's just like you could maybe put it on your home residence or something, or hell, maybe your little home residence sparkles, or but like a little burnable thing that you can get 2 times the dividends or whatever for 24 hours, or I don't know. There's could be any number of things that they do. Maybe in your, home city, or maybe even you boost everybody in Granada Hills for, 2 hours.
Tied into neighborhood ratings. That'd be a great tie in there, to help boost.
Everybody spend your boost. Let's get our ratings up. Let's try to be the city of the month.
Well, we see this with Discord, don't we? That you can get different Nitro packages, and if you're running your own private server, that unlocks different perks. Or even within the Upland server itself, there's, people want to be a moderator to get the gold text on their name, or if you're a content creator, you get the orange one, or blah 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 blah. People really go for that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, any little gimmicky thing that makes you stand out from other people in any kind of significant way is important to, specifically, I think, gamers. I think that's what draws them to those sort of things, because people do want to stand out in different ways. They want to be able to customize their experience and not just be a generic, whatever player. Especially if you're like an OG, like you sitting out there, like, how am I supposed to look at your block explorer? No, other than like maybe a bunch of badges, or the little, I don't know, chips stacking up, or that I would know unless I click on your name.
Yeah. And even now, it used to be my block explorer was unique to me, but now I've had my block explorer bastardized like a dozen times more. There's people rocking around with near the exact same copy, so that's a whole different topic. Might be a good segue. Actually, we got a bit of a sneak preview there when I shared that before. We'll just go back and look at some of your actual stuff. Now, there has to be, I think I got it ready here, did I? No. All right, let's go Upland Assets, Block Explorers, and you've got quite some. Oh, who's this? That's me. I don't want to look at me. Where are you? There we go.
Out there somewhere.
Explorers. There we go. So you've got some very cool ones here. The Mystic Creature one, that's cool. And then you've got a couple of the Trader ones. Did you earn those, or did you buy them secondary?
No, I earned those somehow.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I don't even, honestly, I don't know how the hell I pulled that off. I think I got lucky. I was in London and Birmingham, and I'm such a small account. I minted enough to get the collection in both of the cities. I did save up a little bit because I did have some advance notice, but then actually one of the ones that I minted when the collection reveal came out, it was part of a collection. And so this was like my first lesson in taking your shit off the market right before the collection comes out. But I had it listed at like I paid 12,000 UPIX or something for it, and I think I had it listed at like 65,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It sold instantly, so I probably could have got a fair amount more for that. But and then it just offered me the opportunity to buy some more properties in London and try to flip them, which I did. And I think I even made, I thought I might have made a trade or something as well. So yeah, and so just because of that one property that I accidentally didn't delist fast enough, it gave me a bunch of UPX, and I just spent them more on Birmingham and London, and I got lucky enough to make it on the leaderboard for both of them.
Very good. And yeah, of course, no, how do I'm going to go back to you. Oh, that's right. I had to look through here. Now I'm still learning the controls on this new laptop. I need to get myself a Bluetooth mouse. Yeah, I can click on here. Your Director's Block Explorer is definitely a unique one. What's the story going on?
No, so I talk about, well, not as much as I was, but I love tea. I'm a big tea drinker. I don't drink coffee. I've always drank tea since I was a little kid. So, and I'm kind of my job has warped my sense of humor, I think. Okay, so I'm a gamer, play Call of Duty. There's a thing called teabagging.
Yep.
I think that shit's funny, right? And so for me, this is kind of like a play on that. I love tea. I'm drinking tea right now, which I try to drink in most of my sit down ones where I'm at my computer. I will drink tea, and I'll even put in my comments, what tea I'm drinking. So this is kind of like I found this picture of essentially a teacup tea bagging a plate, and I thought it was so funny. So I made up my own kind of version of it and sent it in, and this is what they came back, and it's actually pretty close.
It looks good.
But yeah, I just thought it was so funny. The plate, which is, I wish this was a little bit more round. It would look more like a plate. Had a more concerned look on it in the drawing, but yeah, I don't know. I love it, to be honest. Yeah, I was like, this is funny. I'm a vulgar guy. I have a warped sense of humor. This is kind of like right up my alley, and I love tea. I mean, I drink tea every single day.
Yeah, no, I definitely had a chuckle when I saw it too. I guess we'll go back to your home residence in Granada Hills, and I've heard you talk in your videos where some of the profits that you've generated from that, you're always looking to buy extra properties in there. What's the story? What's going down in Granada Hills?
So when I started watching YouTube and I came across Metaverse Melon, I didn't know enough about the game, so I really wanted to get into something, but as a small account, it's really hard to get into an already established neighborhood. So I'm like, well, he's talking about this really underdeveloped area in LA that is, launched, in kind of a shitty way. Well, I think it was cool how they did it, but there was just too many damn properties. And so it didn't mint out. So it's not super expensive, especially then to mint and own property in LA. And LA is a big city. It's a tier 1 city. So I was like, oh, this is a really great opportunity. And what he was talking about was, getting the floor up and making the community in Granada Hills, more desirable. I'm like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Just something that I can sink my teeth into and kind of help build from the ground up. And he already had a really great foundation, and he started up his Discord. I think I was like maybe the 8th person to join his Discord. And I was like, man, yeah, I'm on board to just grow Granada Hills, because nobody's talking about it. I mean, still not a lot of people are talking about it, but it's a big area. There's lots of property. I think it's an area that could, if it got really organized and gets bigger, as far as people being in there, whenever it mints out, it could make a really strong push at a city that is near the top, because it's so damn big and there's a ton of properties in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the map now. If you're on Spotify, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meta ventures, at least 2 factories going on as well. So yeah, huge area up in the north. And I did just look at UPX land as well, and plenty unminted there, starting from as low as 7,500. So yeah, still massive opportunities to get in.
Yeah, and I think all of those are the FSA properties.
All right, let me go non-FSA. That's always interesting too. So yeah, plenty of non-FSAs as well. They're starting at around 13,500. So yep, heaps of opportunities to get in there. Okay, cool. Is there any particular projects you've got going on now? Are you looking to establish your own meta venture in the area or anything like that? You said you applied for one.
Yeah, so I have a racetrack that I applied for.
Nice.
So I sent that on. I'm just waiting to hear back to see if there's any corrections for that. I think I'm one of 3 racetracks that I know of are in the application phase. I will probably put a meta venture in there. I'm just not, I'd probably be like a block explorer meta venture at some point. Because I really like the way Upland is going with the block explorer shops. So I think jumping on board with that, and I have a few I could offload or, buy more straight from my shop. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not necessarily needing to have, a ton, but I do want to dip my toes in a couple different ones. I have a NFLPA one, and I have what do they call it? Football. I think that's weird that they chose um football when they have NFLPA. Anyway, a soccer one.
Yep.
I know the rest of the world calls it, football, but in America we tend to call it soccer.
Yeah, it is what it is. How did you go with that whole process? As an establishing account, was there anything as far as, the venture dues or anything that got you to maybe pause on applying for those, or has that not been a concern?
No, that hasn't been a concern. So far, the venture dues haven't been outrageous for me at all. I think all of that is kind of part of the growing pains. And I would rather, I guess in my mind, I'm looking long term. I do see a future in the metaverse, and I do see a future with Upland. And I think kind of similar to what you're doing, like getting established early, and like you have a shop in every city.
Yep.
Or you're close to it at this point.
Yep.
I think having, brand recognition and being established early, you look at, in the real world, you look at the businesses that start up in, 2023, 2024, and you're like, okay, that's cool. But what about the property that's been here since 1904?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, they're really established. If I'm looking at the two, just my natural bias is going to go to the 1904. They've been around, they know what they're doing. They have so much more experience in this space. So I'm thinking, regardless of the dues or the whatever may come down the pipe, I think it's worth it if I keep pushing, and I can get my name out there, my brand out there, and maybe at some point there'll be a tag that says, oh, started in, whatever year.
Yeah.
Or you can just push that yourself. I think that matters, especially down the road when you start seeing an influx of people coming in, and they're looking for somebody they can trust. Somebody that started with them, that year, that month, may not be that person, but somebody that's been around, that's established it, that maybe shows their face on the internet, is somebody that I think people can count on, and that's beneficial and worth it to me, even if I don't have a ton of sales.
Yeah, you can see that in your branding, even with your YouTube channel. You got established 2023 and that sort of stuff. So yeah, right on. Yeah, I just finished the last showroom to have a showroom in every city, and then they announced Stockton and Trent. I had to buy. I'm building those showrooms at present. So yeah. I think I mentioned in one of the podcasts I did, I kind of cracked the seal on that, and now I'm kind of have to stick with it now.
You're in it now, man. Every single one.
Yes.
But I mean, it's not a bad problem to have, I guess.
No. Well, the problem I've got now is at the moment, any kind of time that I can sit down to do anything with Upland is all about the kind of aggressive downsizing I've got going on with my account. So all of the UGC MetaVenture stuff has really taken a back seat to that. So I've got 35 showrooms that I need to move decor for. It's just such a freaking soul crushing process, moving all these little bastards one at a time, and the app crashes and whatnot. So I'm kind of.
Well, you got to get away from that iPhone.
Yes, I know. Swiley keeps saying the same thing. I should be doing on my new laptop, but see, which I'm like you. I've got a job that takes a lot of my time and my energy and that sort of stuff. When I get home, the last thing I want to do is turn a laptop on and sit down.
Right.
Hang out with the kids. So any Upland time I do have, recently I'll play Upland and set my USD sales while I'm on the exercise bike in the morning, or if it's not fucking raining like it's doing nonstop here at the moment, and I go for a morning walk, I'll do some of it then. It's 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 10 minutes there. It's not inducive to sit down. Okay, I'm going to sit down the freaking laptop for half hour or something. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like my laptop and computer set is all downstairs of my house. So if I'm on my computer, I'm away from my family, and inevitably I'm going to hear about it at some point. To say, hey, are you going to be down there all day? I'm like, well, no, but I'm just checking a few things. And sometimes depending on what you're doing in Upland, you can kind of get sucked in, and before you know it, you've time traveled a couple hours.
Yes.
I do want to go back to something you said
Yeah.
a second ago. You were talking about, and you talk about on your podcast often about downsizing. When you talk about downside, you had, thousands and thousands of properties. Are you consolidating those like into like just bigger properties? I know that you use some of that to buy your laptop, but
Yep.
to keep your dividends up, because I know you've talked about that a couple different times where you say, you want to hit that 2 million a month mark.
Yep.
If you're downsizing, how are you managing that, I guess?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've had, if you look at some of the floors in the cities where I'm active, it very much looks like, oh, Ben 68 is cashing out. Because I'm just dominating a whole bunch of floors and having a lot of fun doing floor battles with people. Like this morning, I woke up and I had half a dozen Chicago properties listed at the floor in USD at 36%. Well, I woke up this morning and there was one at 33%. So I was like, righto, I'll put a couple up at 32%. I love that shit. I've been doing that since the very, very early days of San Francisco. Back in the day when we could sell under mint with no threat of being sent to Alcatraz for, destroying the market or whatever they want to justify it. So that's, as long as I've been playing Upland, the property trading aspect, the buying the properties, the working out what's this valued at, how can I sell it, that has always been my most favorite thing to do in the game. And that goes back to well before there was no UpX land, there was no data management tools whatsoever. It was literally pen and paper going through San Francisco, looking at hundreds and hundreds of properties on my phone, clicking on it, all the unminted ones. Okay, this one's, which sounds crazy, this one's 700 UpX, but if I look a bit more, I can probably find one for 650 or 1,000, or so it goes way back to those very early days. But probably to explain or to answer your question, I'll just bring up my chart, which, it depends on which graph you look at. It does very much look like a bit cashy-outy. So
yeah, a little bit.
If we just go to my number of properties, which you mentioned, my account started off 13th of January 2020. I think I kicked off. So I was very slow and steady for the longest time. Back in those days, there was no Discord. It was Telegram. And, you're talking about an active community of maybe 20 people. It was ultra tiny. So I just stuffed around here and there. I put a few Australian dollars in, nothing more. It might have been, I don't know the dates on these. I'm fucking shocking at dates. It might have been the start of Fresno or Manhattan where I started to put crypto in. My actual fiat in value is maybe a couple of thousand. I don't know how much it would have been. It was like I FOMO'd into a Sea Cliff collection at one point, which might have been $300. It was little bits and pieces, $10 here, $10 there.
Right.
Buying direct. But any big jumps you see in my account, that was all crypto in, based on profits I'd made in the 2017-2018 ICO craze. So my accounts kind of spits and spurts as different kind of city releases happened and whatnot. And then there's a couple of big jumps around here. I think this big jump might have been Brooklyn. I bought a 10 million UpX, or minted a 10 million UpX property in Brooklyn for the Dumbo collection, because dividends on that's massive.
Right.
Or it might have been that jump there actually. And then, so what am I at there? 6,000 properties. And then I kind of got it in my head. I was looking at some of the leaderboards and I was like, I'd love to be in the top 3 of number of properties. So I'm going to go for 10,000 properties. So I just started gobbling properties up like crazy in Chicago. I think I had 4,000 properties or something just stupid in Chicago at some point, because I'd learned the lesson from Manhattan. See, so when Manhattan released, I went pretty significantly into Manhattan, but which will blow people's minds now. When Manhattan released, there was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of non-FSA Manhattan properties for 2,000 UPX, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So
what was the UP2 on those?
Oh, they're only tiny properties.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. But now if you, and Dizzy Diskey's the classic example of that, where he just minted up, so many of those, and now what are they worth now? 70,000 or something stupid.
Yeah,
you can
some
sell those for
fucking
all day, every day.
ridiculous price.
Yeah, so I'd kind of seen that develop. I did do really well out of Manhattan, don't get me wrong. But I looked at Chicago. Okay, Chicago's the next big tier 1 city that's dropped. So I think based on a number of sales that I'd had at the time, I think I had a balance of like 14 million or 12 million UPEX or something like that. So I just went ballistic in Chicago, minting up the floor. I minted literally thousands of properties between 1,000 UPX and 2,500. And I kept going all the way up to about 5,000 UPX. That was kind of my cutoff point. But then the Portage Park project started to be talked about, and I really liked what they had going on there, what they were talking about. So then I went crazy there and minted up the floor there to, I think, 7,000 UPX or something like that. So at the end of the day, I had all of these Chicago properties. I'm thinking, right, I'm going to hold on to these until the floor matures till about the 10,000 UPX mark, which by the time Chicago sold out, the prices were up around there anyway. So I thought, well, maybe if I just hang on to these a bit longer, I'll start offloading these slowly. But then, of course, Upland in their wisdom decided, okay, here's some mystery properties that now we're going to put another 18,000 properties that are now available in Chicago, which just decimated the market.
Yeah. Fuck.
And just threw all those plans out the window. So I've been sitting on all those properties for the longest time thinking, what am I going to actually do with these? So yeah, so I kind of gave up on that plan. And then, so that's around, what are we here? Yeah, about October 2022, I decided, well, I'm going to go in the other direction and start downsizing my account. Pretty gradually there, I started to offload those Chicago properties because I'd minted those for 1,000, 2,000, even though the floor was 5,000, I could still sell those at that's still a chunky profit.
Right. So, yeah. And you're not losing much on the dividends.
No. So I started offloading those bit by bit by bit. And then I started looking around like other cities where I had properties, Fresno, and I minted just crap tons in LA as well. And started slowly offloading the ones that were, the floor price was well and truly over the mid price that I paid. So yada, yada. And then I kind of took a break. Here, you can very clearly see here in my graph, this big plateau period here. This is where any time that I could spend on Upland was all about the UGC stuff for Samurai Aquatics. Doing all the stuff in the factories, moving all of the inventory, blah, 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 setting up the sales, doing all that sort of stuff. So that ticks on for about a year, or it's almost a year there.
Is it?
Probably more. 2023, 6 to 2024. Okay, so half a year, something like that. Yeah. And then there's a massive drop off. Well, that's where I've switched gears now, and the UGC's gone on the back burner, and now I'm all about radically dropping my account. So that's the number of properties. Normally, for some of the people, there's some famous examples of I hate the term, but okay, OGs that have said, this is enough for me, I'm going to cash out. This graph is very common, but what's not common is the flip side, where the property's net worth and the mint net worth. Normally their property's net worth and the mint net worth follows the trend and drops off like a cliff.
Right.
That's not the case with my account, although you can see that my property's net worth graph did drop off a cliff and is very much, it's racing towards my mint net worth. So, at my peak, I was at 150 mil net worth or something like that.
I mean, that's a good looking chart though.
Yeah.
But got a good gap there.
Yeah. Well, ideally, my mint net worth would be above the property's net worth. Well, what this shows here, though, like that massive drop, what's behind that is, talking about node projects and whatnot, I spent upwards of 35 million UPX developing Midtown Terrace. So that is the many contracts I had with the UCC construction company. So,
and you're the node leader there, right?
Yeah. I'm the dickhead that came up with the terminology and the concept of nodes and all that. That's
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then they ripped you off.
Well, they just took it in their own direction and bastardized it,
Yes.
whatever.
Well,
So
yeah, bastardized it.
I'm not bitter. It's all good. But so yeah, I wanted to. I've always thought it's very strange, and a lot of people have mentioned this. You know, if you spend back in the day when you could buy block explorers for UPX, which doesn't seem you can do much nowadays. It's all USD. But back in those days, and even with the NFLPA bundles and everything like that, cars, whatever, anything you bought in UPX, all of that value is gone. So,
Right.
you know, yourself as an established account or establishing account with 1.5 million, you know, you're aiming, I would imagine, to get to that executive status, the 10 million. Well,
Yeah.
if you're constantly buying all of this cool stuff that's getting on board, but your value is dissipating, that's kind of
Yeah.
sucks.
That part's super frustrating because I really have to weigh out like they have all this cool shit that has nothing to do with properties necessarily.
Yep.
Like the totems, and who knows what life is going to do, but like investing in totems, and I see no gain from that. You know, right now I know that totem is going to turn into stem.
Yep.
And then stem is what you need for life, but is life going to add any value to your net worth?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. The great
So
unknown.
how much, I don't know, what's the benefit other than maybe there's some avenue to get USD out with
Yep.
that in some kind of way. But as far as like investing into, you know, UpX and the platform itself, I don't know what the benefit is to doing that if none of this stuff counts towards your net worth, which is kind of frustrating because I really have to weigh my options. Me build my net worth and you know, increase my dividends every month, or am I gonna buy this thing that I think is really cool and maybe has some sort of utility down the road, but we have no idea. I'm just kind of, you know, banking on a prayer here, hoping that it's, you know, this. I mean, I know we're not supposed to. It's not an investment platform, but you know, there is money involved, so you do hope that you can recoup that in some kind of way. Uh, and I would like to think that that would be the case. If not, then so be it. But I don't want to just throw money away if I can help it. I would like to have it come back and benefit me, or at least give me an idea that's going to benefit me. I don't know. We have no idea what the fuck life is going to be like, or how that's going to work, or does that increase the value of my property if I have a little farm on it, or something? I sure as fuck hope so.
You would you would want to have so. Yeah.
But I mean, having a building on your property doesn't increase the value one iota. So I mean, probably not. You know.
Yeah. So that was kind of my thinking as well. See, my chart here. I'd been a chief executive since 23rd of November or thereabouts, 2021. So I'd been a chief executive for a long time, but there was talk at the time. Well, okay, back then there may have been, I don't know, a dozen chief executives. There's not many people that had reached that level. Now there's, you know, I think there might be hundreds of them that have got to that point. But we're always thinking, okay, are they going to put in a next tier? You know, maybe there's something above chief executive. So here I am spending literally tens of millions of UpX in Midtown Terrace. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want all of this net worth to just go disappear. So the arrangement that I had with the UGC was to transfer, and especially in the early days where UpX transfers wasn't a thing, I would have a contract to build 100 properties. It's 5 million UPX for this particular set of properties that they're going to help me develop. So they would buy a Fresno burner off me for 680 UpX. And then I would buy it back off them for whatever the contract price was, for 6 million. So I had dozens and dozens of these properties in Fresno where the mid price was 400 UpX, 600 UpX, but the last purchase price was 2 million, 6 million, you know, just crazy inflated properties, because that was holding that value. So that's why that was maintained like that. This massive drop off, this is the point where I said, you know, all these Fresno properties, I'm just going to flip them at the floor. So there's a dozen or more properties there in Fresno where the last purchase price was 5 million, and then I flipped the floor for 5,000 UPX or whatever it may be. So that's what that massive drop off there is. That's kind of, the graphs are kind of getting back to my true value, or whatever you want to say, that the true account value, even though,
yeah, you're getting rid of that balloon, so to speak.
Exactly. So how have I managed to sell, you know, I think what I have 6,000 now, I'm under 2,000. How have I managed to sell so many properties and not just completely destroy my net worth? Well, I'm selling at a profit always. And yeah, you're right. I'm reinvesting. Well, I'm doing two things. I've probably, last year I started USD. I was actually I won a position in the very first ever iteration of the USD out beta. And at the time, because of tax implications, some of those shit I'd had to deal with crypto, I was like, I don't want no fucking part of this whatsoever. So I gave away my position in that as a price. I was like, here you go, you have it. Here's the hot potato. So, but last year I flipped the switch on that, and I took out about $5,000 in Australian dollars from the USD out. This year I've doubled that, and the next tax year I'm hoping to double that again. So I'm doing two things. I'm downsizing my account, flipping the floors for UPX. I think my UPX balance now is 6 point something million. All of that, well, I won't say all of it, probably at least 5 million of that, whatever the next city release is, I'll wait until collection reveal, post-collection reveal. And if there's a decent chunky collection there, you know, I try not to go for the standards. I try at least a limited, hopefully, an exclusive orange collection.
Yeah.
If there's a collection there and the mint price is, you know, 1.5 million, that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking to get. I'll grab those 3 properties and that's it. That's all I'll mint in that city, apart from a showroom property. So I'm constantly looking to boost the dividends. So yeah, I'm selling out crap tons of properties, but I'm reinvesting most of the UPX, but I'm also pulling out for me, a significant amount of USD as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So you're not seeing too much of a dip in your dividends because you're selling off these really small, you know, UP2 properties that aren't giving you shit for dividends anyway, and then basically taking the profits from that and then reinvesting into, you know, big yielding properties.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So what's that? UPX land says my yield is 1.1. I think I did get over 2 mil. What was the last city expansion we had? Was that Tokyo? Was the last city expansion?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tokyo, I went and minted, I might have been Miami or somewhere. I minted a decent collection there. That took me again back over 2 mil. But because of the amount of properties I've been selling, that has dipped down again. I think, how do I check that? This one is.
So, yeah, it's the property one.
So I think, I'm 1.9 mil now. So next city release, you know, I've got what do I have? 6.3. Yeah. So I'll probably spend 5 mil at least of that. And that'll go way back over 2 mil again. So I'm kind of riding that line. I want to stay above 2 mil, but I'm not concerned if it goes below because I know I'll get it back in the next city release.
Right. Yeah. And you're buying those collection properties, which are giving you that boost.
Yes.
As well. So that's like a double whammy.
Yeah. And whatever's remaining, the other 1 million, I'm gonna get back in because I'm kind of at the point now where I've flipped out of a lot of my, lack of better term, trash properties. Now I'm doing the opposite of what you do. You're buying for the cheapest price in USD to flip for the max UPX. Well, I'll go the other way. I'll buy for the cheapest UPX and flip for the max USD that I can. So yeah.
What's your best city right now to flip for USD?
I think I just had sales come through this morning. I just think I finished Nashville. Now, keep in mind, this is still the properties that I already had existing. Nashville, and I'm just starting to flip out in USD in some of my Chicagos. They sell pretty much, if I list 20 of them, 10 of them will be gone the next morning. or something
Yeah.
like that. So that's a pretty good turnover there, but that's right at the floor. And like I said, I'm having a lot of fun doing those floor battles.
Mhm.
I've had so many games playing that, as I said, since back in the San Francisco days. There was one point there where me and another guy, Eric P. Martin, I think it was, we were battling to sell the floor in San Francisco. And, you know, I'd wake up in the morning and I was like, that bastard, he's dropped the floor to 3,500. Okay, so I'll list 50 properties at 3,200. And then you wake up and he's listed a whole bunch at 3,100. So we were playing those games for ages, and I did the dirty on him one day. I aggressively was working to drop the floor with him, and I think he listed 20 or 30 at a really low price, and then I gobbled them all up. I was like, thank you very much. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I'll get you.
And I know people do that with me with some of my USD sales, because they know if they just drop one USD low market price in there, I'm going to go, well, fuck you, and I'm going to put 10 in. And then they can turn around to the same thing. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
That's the most fun I have. So yeah, I'm aggressively downsizing my account, the number of properties, but not necessarily the value or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
A very long-winded answer to your question. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's a good, thorough answer. I mean, I knew you've been talking about that, and I assumed as much, but you know, I haven't had a chance to get your story behind it. So
yeah, so that started October last year when I started to flip the switch. Some of that's, not going to lie, some of that is the frustrations that I have at, you know, where I'm in my fifth year, or started my fifth year of playing this game. Still no property management tools. The UI is still, it's not very user-friendly. There's so many stuff that could be improved, should be improved, has been said is going to be improved, but it's fucking nothing happening. So, okay, time to just downsize.
Yeah, I can only imagine going through and even just listing your properties for sale, how fucking mind-numbing that is to just.
Yep.
There's one. Oh, fuck. I mean, I only have 170 properties. And I'm just like, come on, where are they at? At least now they have some sort of like sorting feature, but
they don't. They don't on collections, which fucking does my head in. There's been a few times, as you know, I'm trying to maintain my dividend boost. So there's been a few times where I've run the collection optimizer, and because of different properties I've bought, it throws out your City Pro collection or your King of the Street collection. And, you know, I'm missing out on 10,000 UpX a month because I ain't going to sit there and scroll through 4,000 goddamn properties on mobile to find this one property. There's no search function.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. I was doing the same thing. I only have 170, but when I go through the optimization thing, and I'm like, and you got to just kind of shuffle them around.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're going back and forth, back. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, nope, fuck it. I'm just gonna live with it unless I'm really bored one day or I'm on a road trip and my wife is driving. Maybe I'll do it because I got nothing better to do. But God, I mean, and for me, it's only, you know, it's not nearly as much. The gain is not that great. But oh shit, yeah, like I can only imagine that frustration. There has to be a better way to be able to do, like, you should just be able to go to the collection, like, here's all the properties that qualify for your collection that you have, and like with the dividends right next to it, just click the fucking button.
Well, we know because all of the very clever blockchain coders, they can set up these optimization things. They rip the, you know, the APIs, and they can say this is the best collection. So therefore, there's no reason that Upland can't do it. And you're right, there should be a button, optimize collections. Even if you got to pay, shit, let's pay 5,000.
I'll pay
let's pay $10 or whatever. Press the button. Yeah.
Give people a fucking subscription to Upland. It's free, but shit, if it's $4.99, so I'll get all the optimized crap, and maybe I get, you know what, put that in the fucking season pass.
Yeah.
You know, like, charge me $8 or whatever, and you get an optimization feature. You get all these quality of life features plus your stupid overlays. And I don't give a fuck about the overlays, but I'll take all of the quality of life features you want to throw in there, because I mean, they're probably not doing it because there's not a lot of value in it because they need to make money. But if you just tie it in,
there is value, because it's gonna. People are going to be far more likely to buy collections if they can optimize them. And
user retention is
Yeah.
valuable.
Yes,
I
massively
mean,
so.
if I wasn't such a stubborn bastard and already wasn't really comfortable with like crypto and NFT stuff,
Yep.
there's no way I would have stayed. I would have been like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know anything about this.
Yep.
I'm going to let this game suck money out of me and then I'm just going to forget about it. No. And I'm sure there's lots of people that look at this cool looking llama thing. This looks like fun. And like, where's the cartoon llama? You know,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just fucking properties.
I say that all the time with new user onboarding. Like, if you're a new user and especially if you're on the mobile app and you go over to Midtown Terrace and you scroll over there or Monero or something, it's going to crash, and the app's going to crash,
Right.
and you're going to go, "What? Clearly, this isn't ready." So yeah, there's so much work that needs to be done. So that's partly, there's no getting around. That's partly me with my account downsizing. That's partly me pulling back some of my risk. Not that I have really a financial risk, because as I said, I'm mostly playing with crypto house money. Although,
Right.
as you mentioned, nobody comes into this thing, even though it's not a financial blah, blah, blah. Nobody comes in saying, yeah, I really hope I lose money on this. Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to piss my money away today.
Yeah.
And this is the app I'm going to do it in.
Yeah. So part of it's me pulling back some of that as well. And I saw this, I talked about this in the old podcast that I did, especially in that long period where the crypto market cap was under 1 trillion. That's always been my dollar cost averaging point. While the market cap's under a trill, I just dollar cost average my target coins and just slowly build up a bag. That got turned off recently, of course, because now the crypto is going the other direction. But now, see, I'm pulling out the USD, converting that to Australian dollars. I'm going to keep that aside, some of that at least aside, to once the crypto goes back down again. Well, now I've got this little nest egg where I can put that in. So it's partly pulling back some of my financial risk, if you want to put it there. And then, of course, it's nice too. Like, I've been playing this game for so long. My wife's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm doing meetings in. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm investing all this stuff into a mobile game. Now, she's seen me go fanatical on mobile games and develop communities for many, many years since we haven't got our first iPhones. But now, well, the other night for her birthday, we went out to dinner. I was told her and the kids, just order whatever you want. And the bill was like something we would never even have conceived of paying ever. And I was like, I paid for all of this with Upland. So, you know.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling, mate. Yeah. Or even we got our rates bill, and like, don't worry, it's taken care of. Paid with it with Upland. So
yeah. I did that with Bitcoin at one point, like when it was when I had almost a Bitcoin.
Yep.
I was like just barely under a Bitcoin. It was like, I think it was valued like $200. And then like 2017, 2018, and it fucking was ballooning up. And at the time when I had it, I was like, oh man, it got up to, I think, $1,800. I was like, fuck, this is the highest it's ever been. The highest before that was 1,200. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, well, before it fucking crashes, like I told my wife, I said, hey, is there anything you need? Like, I'm just going to cash out on stuff that we need right now. So I went and we bought a bunch of crap, for wherever was letting me buy it with just Bitcoin. Cause I didn't want to cash out. I wanted to keep it in, on the blockchain. Right.
Yes.
So I was just using, websites that allowed me to spend with fucking Bitcoin. I mean, even Microsoft at the time was letting you buy games and stuff with Bitcoin. So like I had bought some video games with Bitcoin. Anyway, so one day I was like, yeah, just get whatever. Just you need like a new bedspread and fucking curtains and shit. I think it was like overstock.com or something. Let me buy with Bitcoin. And so I was like, well, fuck, man, it's at $1,800. It's never been so high. I'm like, I'm up a bunch on this. Let's just get it. And then, I cashed most of it out at that point, like an idiot. And then it was like months later, it was like it hit $20,000. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
no.
Now
no,
those
you can see
curtains. Now those curtains are probably worth $10,000 each.
I bought a fucking pair of shoes, and I was like, oh, here's a fucking $10,000 pair of shoes.
Yeah. you can't look back like that. I even just recently with the Ethereum bundle sale, like
Mhm.
those people that it's different if you bought your Ethereum back in the day when it was $20 or $80 or whatever, that's a different story. But the people who bought Ethereum specifically to be part of this bundle sale, well, yeah, shit. Now the Ethereum's taken off, so you just can't look back. I know that with, like I said, most of my accounts built on crypto and shit. If I look back and look at some of the coins I sold to buy UPX, well, you'd pull your hair out, but you just can't do it.
No, I mean it's mostly fun for me. I look at it, and the funny thing is, I was talking to my dad not too long ago, and I was like, Dad, hey, remember when I was telling you to buy all this like crypto shit? And he kind of listens to me now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I was talking about Bitcoin. I was like, remember when I was telling you, hey, it's $200, go buy some fucking Bitcoin, and you didn't? I'm like, I bet you kicking yourself in the ass now, aren't you? I'm like, yeah, go play Upland, you dick.
Yeah.
But now he just looks at me like I'm a weirdo. He's like, what are you doing? Like, what's this app? And you're buying properties. And I'm like, yeah, man, like, just trust me. Like, the metaverse, this is going to be the next thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. Well, I want to go back to something that I picked up in your last video where you talked about you'd moved into a new, now I love this, it's kind of your new studio space almost. Tell us about that journey. I know, myself as well, wife, 3 kids, especially back in the day when I used to do the old podcast at 3 a.m. my time. Can't wake up the whole house doing this shit. I know you do stuff in the off hours as well.
Yeah, so my wife and kids, I'm always like a night owl. Even though I got to wake up early, I've always been a night owl. For like, I don't know, over 10 years, I worked swing shifts. And so I was just always up late and getting off work late. So I'm just accustomed to being up late at night. But with where my computer in my room at my house, I don't know why, but I have a massive bedroom. And so I had a desk in there, and that's where my computer was. And because I didn't want to be so removed from the family, if I was going to be on my laptop, it was just at a desk in our bedroom because it had lots of space in there. So we have like these really big dogs, and we did some rearranging in our house last week. And my wife was like, I want to get our dogs, because we crate them when we're at work. I want to get them out of the living room. And so she's like, where can we put them? I'm like, let's just put them in the bedroom. And I've been trying to get down here, but she has always said, like, whenever you have a thing, you always take over a space. I want to have the space. I said, fine, I'll take the garage. You can have this downstairs room to do your crafting, or if she has to work from home, whatever, you'll have that space. But when we were looking in our bedroom, like, where can we put our dog crates? The only like spot that made sense was right where my desk was. So I'm like, let's just put it right there. She's like, well, where are you going to put your computer? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, you got any ideas? And she's like, well, let's just put it downstairs for now. I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And so I'm like holding a desk down here, and she's like, well, where are you going to put it? Because this space down here isn't all that big. I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm going to put this. I'm like, I'll just squeeze it over here in the corner behind this couch. And she's like, just use half of my desk, because she has this whole, like, all the way over here is like a whole rounded desk in this nook. And she's like, well, I have a lot of desks. You can just use a portion of it. I'm like, okay. So now I have this, space. It's not as big as my bedroom upstairs, but I can't, I'm not gonna wake anybody up when she goes to bed, or when my kids go to bed, because their bedroom's right across the hallway. And so if I have to talk at a normal volume, there's no fucking way I can do that. And then she'll be in there, what are you doing on your computer talking about cryptos and NFTs again?
Especially as the vulgar uplander, that's your whole thing. You can't be dropping bombs and whatever.
Yeah, she would hate that.
Yes. So that definitely rang true for me, because I'm in the exact same boat. I'll just go off my shitty background, and this is my podcast studio.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So I'm in a tiny little laundry room that's built illegally onto the side of our house. So yeah, this is my podcast studio. I've literally got my laptop sitting on our chest freezer. So this is my space.
Okay.
Yeah, laptop used to be on top of the washing machine over here, but then we got a new washing machine and it didn't work in between that and the fridge. So yeah, I moved over to my new space over here. So
you ever use that shitter to podcast on?
Very often before a podcast starts, I'll have to go, I might be 5 minutes late. Hang on. But I always make sure I chuck something over the camera. Yes, just in case.
I gotta just slide over here for a second.
Yeah. But
That's awesome.
the big concern has always been, the noise factor, because I don't want to be waking the wife and kids up as well, and you don't want to rein yourself in. I'm famously pretty passionate about some of the things that I complain and whine about at times too, tend to get fired up. So you don't want to dial that back. So no, that was cool. I enjoyed watching that aspect of it when you were talking about that as well.
Yeah, I've been very excited to be down here because I don't have to be quiet at all. I can be as loud as I want. I can say whatever the hell I want. I don't have to worry about anybody coming and bothering me, except for these fucking cats that are down here. I'll come down because they sleep down. We lock them down here because one of them likes to piss on our clothes if I haven't put them away yet.
Fun times, yeah.
So it pisses on in the litter box down here, but heaven forbid I let that fucker upstairs. It will find my clothes that I'm really bad about putting away on a regular basis and just piss all over them. So it sleeps down here, and so when I come down here, I always find like little paw prints everywhere. I'm like, you little bastards. But they're the only things I got to worry about bothering me down here.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have a kind of semi set up space. That's kind of one of the things. Again, going back to what I don't know, do stuff on my laptop, because I literally don't have a desk. So that's the USD figure out that I'm hoping to do next year. One of the goals there is we have a very large space up one part of our house. There's these, it's kind of what we call here in Australia a granny flat, but it's basically like comes flat packed, it's almost like a shipping container size. And they lift it up and it's like this whole space, there's a front door, there's a window, there's, you can have an air conditioner. I'd love to set that up out there because we're really lacking for storage in this house. That could be kind of like what you've got there. It could be my wife's like knick-knack area. I could have my little podcast studio properly set up. So if I want to do something, well, I can just go out. At the moment, if I have an idea for a video, I can't just, okay, I'm going to go sit down and record that because it's a whole fucking process to get set up in here. And
I mean, especially if you're doing laundry or something.
Well, that's the thing. I got to work around the laundry schedule, or I'll have to ask Maya. Do you need anything out of the chest freezer for the next hour? Because I'm going to be all set up in.
I'm going to be on it.
There's been a few times where the kids have asked for something for dinner, and she'll has to come in. I got to lift it up. It's a whole thing. So
that's awesome.
Definitely having a set space would be a huge game changer, and that's primarily the reason why I don't do any short form content at all. It's always this kind of long form stuff because I can't just zap in and out whenever I want. So.
Yeah, I mean, when I was able to make a video the other night, that was the first one I've made at night, and it was only because like everybody's asleep. I got nothing to do. It's like, I could play some video games, or I could just go jump on Upland and fuck around in there for a little bit. Which was nice because a lot of times I'll have ideas or things I want to talk about, and I'm like, okay, I'll just talk about that on my drive to work tomorrow. But I don't love doing that just because the audio quality sucks so much, and I'll buy some shit to make that better, but I just haven't yet. I would rather just sit down here or at my computer and do it because it's just so much easier to do. And way more comfortable than navigating the Pacific Northwest while playing Upland.
Absolutely. I just want to go back to one of the points you mentioned. Is one of the ways you're funding your Upland journey is with a bunch of other apps that you're getting rewards from. I think in one of your, or it might have been in this thing or one of the other videos where you were talking about how the rewards you get with your gas card or something like that as part of it. Is there any Web3 games or apps that you're playing with as well that generate some kind of income that you can filter over?
I haven't looked into that too much. Other Web3 things. So no, not that I'm aware of. I haven't spent much time in that. I don't have a ton of time to do deep dives into like what sort of stuff makes sense, or what can I trust. So that's been the barrier there. Some of the apps that I use right now, I have vetted and I've used and looked at long before I decided I was going to start using them like often and heavily to make sure that, you know, what they're saying is actually true.
Yep.
There have been some that were just really, I don't know, gross to use. And I was like, no, this juice is not worth the squeeze. I'm not fucking around with this app at all.
Yep.
Like a lot of the ones where you have to spend all this time doing surveys and shit
Yeah.
just to get, you know, like 50 cents or something. I'm like, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes to make fucking 50 cents. That's just unreal. I'm not going to do that.
Yep.
That's a waste of my fucking time. Just so they can gain data on me and or information and, you know, give me ads directed towards how I've answered these stupid fucking questions I don't care about. So
Yeah.
no, I don't mess with those ones. But if there's any that anybody could suggest, I would happily look into it. But I just haven't had a ton of time to, you know, dive deep into other, you know, like Web3 things that could yield a benefit. But I'm definitely interested. I just
Yeah.
haven't.
You mentioned NFTs prior, and yeah, one of the things that I've been banging on for years and years is we know there's the NFT situation that captures all the headlines is always the Bored Ape Yacht Club's worth, you know, you got to pay 200 grand to get one of these things, blah, blah, blah. I personally think mainstream adoption of NFTs is going to be way more boring than that. You know, it's going to be POAPs for ticket sales, different rewards for that, driver's licenses, marriage license, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, movie tickets,
yeah,
concert tickets, shit like that. Yeah.
Interested, you said you're somewhat of a gamer. What was your take if you saw it? Like, we've just seen Disney and Fortnite partner up now as a kind of a Web3 thing. You know, the amount of money that people spend in Fortnite on skins and whatnot is billions and billions. Tie that in with NFTs. Well, what's your whole thinking there? Is something like that piquing your interest? Have you got your finger on the pulse of that?
Yeah, a little bit, because I think, you know, Disney is so big and influential, and Fortnite is also really big and influential, and they have a lot of money and resources to throw around. And I think they're both properties that people can trust. And I think that goes a really long ways. They're super recognizable. I think it's really difficult to say, hey, we'll just ignore this one. Maybe it's not up everybody's alley, you know, video games and Disney, but I think it's definitely something to pay attention to, because whatever sort of thing that they're doing, naturally other players are going to copycat, and they have the funds and resources to kind of go big if they, you know, really want to do it right. They can copy some things that they see from other, you know, metaverses or whatever, because it sounds like that's the direction they're going. They can steal some ideas. I mean, I'm sure they could steal some ideas from Upland and was it Sandbox and
Decentraland and all of those.
Decentraland. Yeah, and then, you know, throw in whatever innovative ideas that they have. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be paying attention to that. And am I gonna dive into that? I don't know. I really don't like Fortnite, to be honest with you. My kids do. My nephews do. If there's a world where I could kind of introduce people to a metaverse through trusted properties, I think I will happily do that. If it means taking the next step to something, you know, we'll just say more adult, an adult metaverse versus, like, you know, maybe this is more of a cookie cutter, you know, really user friendly, I don't know, vanilla version of a metaverse. If it gets people to adopt and understand and trust that kind of platform, I think it could be really, really great for the space and moving people towards, you know, I always have this grand vision, kind of like Ready Player One, and the Oasis. I know that's a movie, but I really do see a world where that it could be a real possibility. You look at Nowhere and Upland and the possibilities of that, and then all the headsets that people, you know, like Apple and Google and Microsoft have come out with. I mean, that's the direction we're going, and AI and the things that it can generate. I mean, shit, before you know it, you're not even gonna have to worry about people making things. It's just AI is just gonna have it. And you just plug in.
Way we go. Absolutely. All right. How are you going for time? You're available for a bit longer? There's a couple.
Oh yeah, I'm good to go. I don't think I got to pick my kids up for another hour. So
all right, sweet. There's a couple other topics I'd like to dive into. You mentioned, I noted down earlier, you mentioned early on that you're considering starting a block explorer meta venture. Now we have this kind of whole situation where Upland seems to be releasing low mint number block explorers that can be bought in pack specifically for the block explorer owners, and then they can on sell them for UPX and whatnot. That's the aspect that kind of piquing your interest there?
yeah, I think so. I like that idea, kind of like what it'd be nice to be kind of like the Costco of block explorers. You buy a pack, and that I really think that you can make some profits doing that, because you're not really guessing. You're getting them at a discount, and then you get a couple extra, and you can throw it in. Same with, I think, kind of the vehicle, the car ones, where they're doing something kind of similar.
It's almost guaranteed profit, isn't it? Because they've left enough meat on the bone for you.
Right. And that seems like a really good avenue to go down. I've been kind of waiting and hoping that maybe they do that I was hoping they were going to do something with the NFL in that way, but it just didn't. It just didn't. Maybe the next World Cup or something, they can do something like that for legits. But but block explorers, that is the piece that piques my interest the most. You're almost like, it makes it really worth having a shop. It's going to drive sales to your specific place, especially if they're limited. Sorry.
Yeah, and now that they've kind of started to implement the burn feature as well, that adds a whole layer of complexity.
I love the burn feature. I think, man, I really thought they were going to be burning totems. And maybe they still will at some point. I don't know, but I think the burn feature is a really great idea, and adds a little like a layer of strategy to the game, which I really enjoy.
Yes. Now, I woke up this morning to a new announcement, and it's all about block explorers, so that's a pretty good segue over to that. I haven't looked at this at all, so this will be the first time that I dive into this, so we'll have a quick look through this together. So the Frost Season Explore Sale, Upland's Frozen Fortunes Burn event, unveiling the mysteries of Frost Season. Frozen Fortunes Burn events, the Flames of Fortune. Okay, I like the wordplay they're doing there. At the forefront of this chilling event is the Block Explorer sale. A chance to own. For the first time ever, Uplanders can acquire official Frost Season Block Explorers. Okay, so it's not going to be tied only to Block Explorer shop owners.
Right.
Not just as tokens of this icy season, but as vaults of value, each bundled with UPX to help amplify your Upland journey. Okay, well, that's good. They've tied that back into the get the UPX. I know that last monster bloody thing, people were a bit kind of out of sorts that there was no UPX portion.
Oh, yeah, with the carts?
With yeah, well, what was that? The monster truck bloody thing? It was one block explorer, one map asset or something.
Yeah, man, their messaging on that is so juicy. And then you really look at the numbers, and you're like, there's only fucking 10 of these things. Like, there's like, you want me to buy all this shit just to get into a sale where I have to buy more shit, and then hope to God I get lucky enough to get one of 10 of this one. It's like, get fucking real. You're gonna have to spend so much money. I mean, I know I'm shitting on Upland, but oh man, I really love Upland, but there's just some of the things that they're doing. You're like, man, I see right through that dumb thing. Like, make more than fucking 10 of those stupid little cards.
Yeah, that definitely raised.
Will actually have a chance.
Yeah, and then it didn't work anyway for technical difficulties.
Oh, it didn't.
But yeah, they did some other thing where, due to technical difficulties, they're just gonna take a snapshot. Yada yada yada. So.
Oh, I wasn't even following that. I wrote it off after I saw those stupid cards. I'm like, these cards look stupid. And I'm like, what does this have to do with the Frost? These are fucking Halloween things. What are we doing?
That's I couldn't understand that either. I was like, well, wouldn't this make perfect sense to have done this at Halloween? Yeah, absolutely. But these ones
Yeah.
look pretty cool. Although,
Yeah.
you know, frost season, we're buying gloves and snowflakes and boots. It's freaking boiling us hot here. So, don't
Yeah.
really
I
make
mean,
sense.
it's cold where I'm at, but not that bad. It's like nearing spring, so
Yep.
it's slowly warming up, or at least where I'm at.
Yes. All right. So we got interesting. It is going back to UP. Oh no, that's you get 5,000 UPX plus the Block Explorer sale. So yeah, it is a USD feature, right? That's
Right.
imagine. Yeah. So you got to spend $5 or something. $5, $10, $25. I'd imagine that's what it is.
To get your mitts.
Yes. They look pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't hate them.
At least it's on theme. So here we go. Unlocking limited edition Block Explorer. The Frozen Fortunes Burn event also introduced a captivating challenge, offering players a unique opportunity to earn limited Frost Hourglass Block Explorers by burning any combination of 3 different specific Block Explorers. Okay, so you still have to have the 3 specific, but it doesn't matter what combination. Old or new participants can unlock these coveted treasures. Okay,
Of the ones that you have to buy up above.
Yeah, those ones. It sounds like.
So you have to spend was it 25? You have to buy one of each of those bundles, or you have to go get them off the secondary market if you want to get one of these hourglasses.
Would assume so, but here it says New Year 22 Snowflake, New Year 22 Snowman. So does that mean the old Block Explorers? Frosty Cauldron, Frosty Grip. Frosty Grips there.
Mm-hmm.
None of the others are mentioned. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is. Look, that's the old school ones.
Oh,
interesting.
Okay. Burn 3 different blocks. Okay. So they have to be the frosty things.
So you have to burn one of these new ones and a combination of some of the old ones. Well, that's an interesting approach.
Shit. Well, now I need to go get some old ones.
Now I need to go into my Block Explorer shop and make sure I don't have any of these listed too low. Interesting.
Yeah, you see, the things they're doing with Block Explorers are really cool. Like there's so many, there's so much utility to them. And there's a reason for people to go there. Like right now, there's absolutely zero reason for anybody to go to, my football MetaVenture shop unless I mean, I don't even know why. Somebody bought some the other day, and thank you, but I don't know why. I don't know why they bought them.
Yeah, it's when they come out in the blue like that, you always second guess yourself and hey, what do they know that I don't know?
Right.
Yeah. So no, this is a cool feature. I like this. So yeah, if you use the Frosty Grip, which was the most common one, and you burn it with, I would assume these are fairly common as well. You get that one. This one, you got to burn the Flake and the Dancing Boots. Plus, that's definitely an old Block Explorer, that one.
Yeah, look at that thing.
That's going to be interesting to check because I know I've got some of these very old OG.
Is that
Christmas
2020
ones.
that it says?
I think it is. That would be.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of faint there at the base, but I'm pretty sure it says 2020.
Yeah, the value on those. Yeah, 2020. Look at that.
Wow. And then, now you're burning those, which
Yeah.
just creates even more rarity. I like that. I love the burn mechanic.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do they got for this last? Oh, that's the last one. Yeah, legendary. Hang on. Legendary Frost 24 hour. Okay, so there's a time limit. Every burn contributes 1 point to your standing on the great. Oh, not another leaderboard. The fervor of competition heats up as the top 10 players who burn the most Block Explorers will be crowned with the legendary Frost 24 hour guys. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's cool. That adds a whole bunch of extra marketability and value to some of the old Block Explorers. It gives lots of FOMO to the new ones. So if you are lucky enough to get in and mint some of these up or buy some of these, there's going to be the secondary value on those is going to be sky's the limit, I would think.
Especially this is the sort of shit that gets me. Like, oh man, like, because this isn't hard. Like the Frosty Grip here, like there's 300 of them. That's a really low barrier to entry. To get these other guys, I mean, maybe if I was, had some forethought in advance, I would have, maybe looked at some of those. But Yeah, that's not unobtainable, which is what I like to see. Because some of the things they do are like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna get that.
Yeah,
There's no way.
yeah.
I don't got the I don't I'm not available at 9 a.m. or 3 a.m. your time.
Yep.
And then if I got the funds to do it, that's another thing. Or if like that, like the carts where there's only the one of them, but there's only 10 of them. Like there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love this. I would love to see this transfer over to UGC side of things. Like imagine
Mm-hmm.
for map assets, if Samurai Aquatics could say, if Upland could give us the heads up and say, hey, we want you to create a special, low mid number feature item, and they're going to help work with us to set up a burn mechanic where if you burn your bloody patio umbrella, your pool, and this, well, then you're going to get this other one.
Right.
Hopefully that bleeds over at some stage. But yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
And maybe because I know they were talking about with Sparklet, you could make legits and shit
Yes,
with
good
that.
point.
Maybe they'll have
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. That's a very good point. All right, that sounds cool. All right, I'm glad I held off on looking at that because that was fun. One last thing I'd like to touch on. You mentioned it briefly. We saw on your home residence you had 2 totems,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of talked about how that's very much a speculative space where we're all playing for the future. We don't know what it's going to hold. Just how was your whole process with the totems, the buying, feeding, all of that sort of stuff? Did you hold off to wait to get some information, or did you get straight in for the snapshot and the badge and all the rest?
Oh, I was all in for the snapshot and the badge. Yeah, I'm not. Patience is not one of my strong suits, so I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna go and I'm just gonna press the buttons, and it worked out for the most part. I had a red one and a green one, so one was on the 24-hour cycle, one was on the 30-hour cycle. That 30-hour cycle one was kind of a pain in my ass, but
Yeah, I had a red
I
one.
I wasn't too stressed out about it. I was at first because all I could see is like it just purging my protum, and I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna have any protum left here soon. And then slowly it started ticking up, and I was like, okay, wait, I think there might be some light at the end of this tunnel. And yeah, so I didn't stress about the red one. I did look at Buleman's what is it called? I think I still have it up on my laptop. I can't remember the name of the site. The Upland info page where you can see the when to feed your totems and stuff.
Yep.
So once that was out, I was like, okay, like this is my little savior, because I figured out the green one. That one was actually pretty easy, but the red one, I was like, I had no idea what cycle I was on. I didn't know what the fuck that one was doing. My scores were all over the place. But yeah, fortunately, I didn't have any issues with. I wasn't one of those people that were of the mindset like, I'm just going to throw the whole lot at this thing. I'm going to feed it 300 protum right out of the gate. I was like, man, I'm just going to go really small and see, and just slowly ramp up. I think that's a better option than just try to fill the damn thing up. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. It took like less than a week before most of the information was out.
Yep.
And I could kind of optimize what I was doing, so it was fine. I think I only missed one feeding before all that information came out, and then once it came out, that's when I missed them all. I missed like 3 after that, like an idiot.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I had a red one as well, which the 30-hour cycle or whatever it was. Yeah, it's some of those 12 a.m. feedings. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't setting an alarm for that. If I happen to get up to take a leak at 2:30 or something, I'll just feed it then. So
Yeah, that's exactly the mentality I took. Like, I think for me, it was the green one was at like 11:20 something. And then the red one, it would go from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. To it was like 3 different times. Anyway, there was one of them that was like in the middle of the night. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'll just feed it before I go to bed.
yeah, so I think for the next cycle, which I gotta probably today I'll probably sit down and have a look at the market. I'm going to try and trade my Red Wolf for a green one. And
I was thinking of doing the same thing.
yeah, I'm going to try and pick up I'd like to take, if I can get 2 greens and I can get them on the same schedule, I'd probably do that if the secondary figures aren't too crazy.
Right. Or maybe you could just trade straight across. I mean, probably not, because the greens are going to have more value than the reds, but yeah, you never know.
Never know. All right. Well, that's all of the notes I've got down. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on you think we didn't cover?
God, man, we've talked a while. No, I think we're good. I think we touched on all kinds of different stuff today. That, you know, what's great for me is that you're the first person I've actually got to talk like out loud about Upland to, because nobody I know is willing to dabble with Upland. So like I'll talk to my dad or my sister sometimes, or some friends, but
eyes glaze over.
Yeah, they're just like, get the fuck out of here, man. You and your voodoo magic game. And my wife just rolls her eyes at me. Like when I told her about this today, I said, yeah, I'm gonna talk with a guy from Australia about Upland. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, she's like trying to roll her eyes in the back of her head. She's like, I literally can't roll my eyes hard enough. I'm like, it's fine, I get it.
Well, hang in there. My wife did that for many years, as I said, but never know. You start.
She did it with the Bitcoin thing too, and it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no, I think it's just great being able to talk to somebody out loud about it. I really appreciate you letting me come on and have a chat and just let me be me. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
No worries. I always like to end on, we're in this space. I think you and I are very similar in we're not afraid to voice our concerns, our frustrations, and that, not unfiltered as it may be. Obviously, we're sticking around. There's still enough in this thing that keeps us actively engaged.
Yes,
we're passionate about it. What's kind of your hope for the future? Is there any like feature or aspect that you're hanging out for, or ideas for where you'd like for this to be headed, or other aspects for you to move into?
Yeah, I really like obviously the property management stuff, but being able to rent your space, like having buildings provide some sort of value to your property, and then renting that, almost like being able to work inside of Upland would be really cool. Like, an Uber service for like moving items for other people.
Decor, please. I'll pay somebody to move my decor.
To really generate some kind of revenue for the things that don't generate revenue currently. So like your cars and your buildings, I want to be able to generate revenue for having people rent out a room. Why the fuck do they have rooms on the buildings if you're not going to do anything with them?
Yes.
Same with the cars. Let me transport stuff. Let me rent my space. Let me come into the game and clock in for somebody else. Or if I want to, boost a factory or help optimize a factory, let me
feed their totems.
Whatever. Let me do something like that where people can employ me in the layer 1 experience and not some other layer.
Yes,
I would love that. Whatever place we can get it, however we can get it. I think something like that is like almost like the beginning stages of something massive for this space. Once we get to that place and we can figure out how to do that, I think the sky's the limit for the metaverse, all metaverses.
Absolutely. So yeah, you can envision a future where instead of a 1 hour 45 hour commute each way to work, well, I'm just going to go into my little room here and going to go and put in 3-4 hours worth of work. And
get paid for it on some level.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think that's a good point to touch on. Stick around. I've got a few things to do with you on the back end. Other than that, thank you very much for jumping in and helping me kick off this this particular series again. I took a bit of a break with all of the shit that had happened with the storm damage and shitty laptops and whatnot. So looking to do a few more of these.
Awesome. Well, thanks for letting me jump on and spend some time and talk about Upland.
No worries. Don't forget, if you are listening still, make sure you get on over and check out Slack's YouTube channel, the Vulgar Uplander, link in the description. Like and subscribe. He puts a lot of content out there. As I said, some of it's, and as he's mentioned too, some of it's sit down, go through things, content. Some of it's just free flowing, by the seat of your pants sort of stuff. I like that sort of stuff. I also like the, I was watching one the other day where you're just going through the motions. It's stuff that you would normally do, you buy, selling and trading, but you're just talking through your process. That kind of background stuff is, I think that's pretty cool to have on there. There's always different tips and tricks you can pick up on that sort of stuff. Even like I said, I've been playing for a very long time, but there's always something new to learn. Even just recently, Swally in the last podcast, he mentioned there's a thing where you can click off the property, and there's all little changes happen and you might not notice it. You get in your own groove. Like, I'm very much a routine orientated person, so there might be new features or tips and tricks that I didn't even know about, but videos like yourself, content like yourself, very much appreciated and needed in the space too, I think. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks everybody. Don't forget that if you have somebody in mind you'd like to know more about, then sling me a DM, or if you want to have a chat, if you've got some kind of MetaVenture product, or it doesn't have to be Upland related. I do have this open to the wider Web3 space. Happy to talk about anything with anybody at any stage, pretty much, as long as it fits in with the wife and kids schedules and all of that. And on that note, thank you very much. We'll catch up with you on the next one, and stick around, El, and I'll do a few things with you on the back end. All right.
Yes, sir.
Lotus.
If you have an Upland, NFT or Metaverse product, service or event to promote, or you're just someone engaged in Web3 who'd like to have a chat, send me, Ben68, a DM on Discord, or drop a YouTube comment to discuss and secure your spot.